Digimon Story Time Stranger comes out this year, amazing to say once again, and we are due some more information at Digimon Con. But I've been thinking a lot about these starter Digimon. They're very Digimon Adventure focused, Digimon that all appeared prominently in the first season. In contrast to Cyber Sleuth, which had Palmon from Adventure, but then Terriermon, most well known from Tamers, and Haguramon as an outlier. Which has really got me thinking, what would the 3 starter Digimon from Digimon Story Time Stranger's evolution branches be? What is up, digital companions? My name is Karn EX and welcome back to another video. Yes, the road to Digimon Story Time Stranger and Digimon Con is thoroughly still on. And yeah, Patamon, Gomamon, DemiDevimon. I was very surprised to see these 3 be the starters for this game. Based on Cyber Sleuth and other Digimon Story games, evolution is very branching. With each line you can follow offering a new branch to go down. And also, historically, not all of them are incredibly thematic. While they do try and match up to Digimon that have Digivolved from those rookies before, it's not like there's always a really intense thematic or appropriate evolution. It's more just like, well, they're Nightmare Soldiers or they're Wind Guardians or it happened in Adventure. So today I'm just going to be discussing obvious and some thematic evolution branches to go down and not trying to fill out an entire roster as there's just too much random chance. So there'll be like 5-ish branches that I'm going to present for each Digimon as a kind of prediction, but I might do a stream in the future where we try and fill out the entire branch, like 5 champions, 5 ultimates for each of those champions, and 5 megas for each of those ultimates. Something else of note is that all 3 of these starters were already in Digimon Story Cyber Sleuth. So I'm going to discuss some likely contenders I think will remain in Time Stranger and some new additions that I think are likely. My big bet actually is that basically any evolution from Cyber Sleuth to these Digimon may actually remain, but we'll get more options too. Something else I want to talk about is a comment left by Jacob Galloway, who said that each of the 3 starter Digimon are likely reflections of the big 3 of Greek and Roman mythology: Zeus, Hades, and Poseidon. Patamon is a holy Digimon connecting to Jupitermon, Gomamon is a Deep Savers Digimon and related to water which connects to Neptunemon, and DemiDevimon is a dark underworld Digimon connecting to Plutomon. I absolutely agree, so I'm going to be factoring all 3 of those in. And of course, Jupitermon, Neptunemon, and Plutomon are going to show up in the story of the game as related to the Limpos 12. It's also entirely possible that our characters could just Digivolve into a non-story version of those Digimon. It would be very funny actually to have Jupitermon versus Jupitermon in the final battle. But hey, if you're looking for a game to fill that void before Digimon Story Time Stranger comes out, I would highly recommend today's video sponsor, Tales of Autumn. Tales of Autumn is now available and coming to Nintendo Switch. Developed by Hidden Stag Games and published on Nintendo Switch and sponsored by Red Deer Games. Yes, Tales of Autumn is coming to Nintendo Switch. In Tales of Autumn, rebuilding your farm and animal care go hand in hand. Befriend chimeras, help the town, and become the hero of this story. I think you can see why I think this game would appeal to you guys. Tales of Autumn is a wild farming RPG with an emphasis on animals and terrain management. Develop the abandoned ranch, befriend the wildlife, build relationships, and earn the trust of the town. With terra farming, on your ranch you can befriend and tame wild creatures while raising animals, each with their own unique needs. Shape the land to create different biomes, influencing the crops you can grow and the animals that will be drawn to your farm. Traditional livestock can be raised in barns and coops, providing valuable resources and cutesy companionship. And you won't be lonely, your choices impact the town. Good deeds will earn you rewards, discounts, friendships, and helping hands, while neglecting the community will result in your neighbors becoming distant. Build relationships with the townsfolk, learn their stories, and let them become part of your adventure, and what a fantastic adventure it can be. Manticore ahead! Oh wait, you can pet it, bring back mythical creatures to the town of Autumn, and own a fantasy farm when you check out Tales of Autumn on Nintendo Switch. And thank you to Tales of Autumn and Red Deer Games for sponsoring this video. Okay, so let's begin with Gomamon, perhaps the least interesting of the 3, at least to me personally, because I do think a lot of the Cyber Sleuth stuff will remain the same, bar the addition as previously discussed of perhaps Neptunemon for thematic appeal. So yeah, straight up, Ikakumon, Zudomon, and Vaikmon are going to be in this game. We've already seen Zudomon and Vaikmon in the trailers, and I think Ikakumon, Zudomon, Vaikmon from Adventure. There's no way they're putting Gomamon in this game and not having that be an option for evolution. Not really belonging to their own full branch lines, but I'm also going to add Plesiomon and Marine Angemon here, as they are very historic alternate Gomamon megas, so I think are likely to remain from Cyber Sleuth and be in the game in general. I also think it's quite likely Ankylamon will remain from Cyber Sleuth, though as I am hoping for more armored Digimon in this game, I might also like to see Submarimon or Digmon as options for Gomamon, tying into the connection between Joe and Cody in Digimon Digimon Adventure 02. And then whether it's Ankylamon, Digmon, or Submarimon, I think Shakuamon is a really good option here, with maybe Vikemon capping off the end of the line again, or even contenders like Slash Angemon or Clavis Angemon. However, I would love to see Olegmon in this game too from the Death Generals, as I do quite like Olegmon as an Ankylamon Mega these days, so I might slot that in as a Shakuamon evolution for Gomamon. Now, for Neptunemon, perhaps we're looking at Marine Chimeramon as an ultimate. Abby was hinted that the regular Chimeramon and Millenniummon are Digimon he's wanted to include for a while, so why not also throw in the Marine variant of Chimeramon while we're at it? Marine Chimeramon to Neptunemon was an option on the Vital Bracelet, and again, Vital Bracelet came out in 2020, so that is kind of like 5 years ago, perhaps hinting that we could have these kind of Digimon in the game. As for a champion, well, Marine Chimeramon has Digivolved from Ikakumon before, so we can keep that in place, or maybe also add Tabiumon, which I would be fond of. And if we're going to include Tabiumon and Marine Chimeramon going into Neptunemon, I think there's also a really good chance that Regalicusmon could be an alternate branch too. But something that's been discussed is the kind of shadiness of the protagonists and their partner Digimon in this key art. They look like they're up to something, kind of Team Rocket vibes going on. And we've also seen the discussion of bonds being very important in this game. I mean, they're important in most Digimon media, but they seem to be kind of making a point of it. So I do wonder, given all that, if there's going to be the potential for specific Dark Digivolution in this game. And if so, I think the 5th slot for Gomamon could be its Dark Digivolution. And here you can basically include any evil marine life Digimon, right? Daigomon, an obvious one as a throwback to Digimon Adventure 02. Way more recent, way less likely, but Cathilamon, the Marine Angemon variant, would be a good call, as would be Marine Devimon. And then as for a champion, well, there's less like outright evil marine champions, but you could go with something like Gessomon or a Beedramon, or even, Devidramon if you wanted to, if there was going to be Marine Devimon there. Moving over to Patamon, well, there's no world where it's not getting Angemon, Magna Angemon, and Seraphimon, right? That's a lock-in. I would also like to see Dominimon in this game as an alternate for Magna Angemon. I do think there's been plenty of time to include Dominimon, and Dominimon has had a bit of a resurgence recently. Archaiangemon I feel like is less likely, but we could definitely see Pidomon here. But another Patamon evolution, which I feel like we have to see in this game, freeing it from Digimon Story Cyber Sleuth Medal Jail, is Pegasusmon. As discussed earlier, I'm really pushing for at least all of the main 02 armors to be in this game, and Digimon Adventure 2020 did use Pegasusmon as kind of a conventional evolution for Patamon, not an armor Digivolution, so whether they use the armor Digieggs or not in this game, I think that would be a no-brainer. I would then switch things around, having Pegasusmon Digivolve into Kirinmon, as well as a bunch of other stuff it could branch into. Kirinmon was a possible evolution in the Patamon branch in Cyber Sleuth, but not from Pegasusmon, who was of course absent. And Kirinmon could not become my kind of preferred alternate mega for Pegasusmon, Godramon in Cyber Sleuth. So that's what I do, Pegasusmon to Kirinmon to Godramon. And in addition, I would also of course keep Kentorusmon from Cyber Sleuth, because it is more so the de facto Kirinmon evolution. I've just grown fond of Kirinmon as a Pegasusmon evolution into Godramon. We could also probably keep Repamon here, I guess, because that was also in Cyber Sleuth and became Kirinmon. Then there's Unimon, which was also in Cyber Sleuth. I am not getting rid of this at all. It is the other original Patamon evolution, and I think I have said this many times, the reason Pegasusmon exists is kind of a nod to Unimon being the original Patamon evolution on the VPETs, and then it would follow an exact evolution potential from Cyber Sleuth going into Hippogriffamon, which I love, has this little Patamon looking symbol on its necklace, and finally Valdemon. Now then, for Jupitermon for Patamon. I really don't know if I can see the partner Digimon being able to nearly straight away Digivolve to Aegeomon, given that Aegeomon is going to be tagging into our party a lot, if not for the whole game. It would be a weird little like double up, and also would kind of rob the specialness of Aegeomon. Funnily enough though, in all Digimon media besides Aegeomon and Aegiacusmon, we have 2 other Digimon Jupitermon has Digivolved from, thanks to the old card game. And wouldn't you know it, they're Magna Angemon and Magna Angemon Priest mode. So that's how I'm going to introduce Jupitermon, and perhaps even its Wrath mode, to Patamon's evolution branches here. Magnamon Priest mode specifically getting its story game debut, and then I think Angemon Pegasusmon will also have the option to Digivolve into it as part of their branches. So whether you go for Angemon or Pegasusmon or even Unimon, you're going to have a way to kind of loop back to Jupitermon as the Olympus 12 reference, and include Magna Angemon Priest mode, which would be great. Hell, if we're including Magna Angemon Priest mode, that really does add another level of legitimacy to the idea that Dominimon might show up here. As for a Dark Digivolution for Patamon, I mean, it seems obvious to me, and given that Adventure 2020 was 5 years ago now, the thematic link of Devimon to Neo Devimon and Dun Devimon would work amazingly. And now I'm not 100% confident that Dun Devimon will make it in, but that's a prediction I can be wrong on for later, time after time. Alright, and finally is DemiDevimon. The thing is though, I also like that branch for DemiDevimon, but maybe we can scale back slightly. So yeah, we can include Devimon and Neo Devimon and Dun Devimon if we want, but I 100% think we should keep Devimon bare minimum, of course. Also retaining Myotismon and Venom Myotismon as a branch from Cyber Sleuth. DemiDevimon was in servitude you to Myotismon in Adventure, so it connects the two nicely, again given that Time Stranger is leading very heavily with some adventure references in its marketing, you know, the Agumon line, Omnimon, etc., all of the partners being prominent from Adventure. I'd also keep Piedmon as an option from Myotismon, again as an adventure reference, but most importantly rescue Malomyotismon from Cyber Sleuth Metal Jail 2 and add it to Myotismon's branch evolution potential. DemiDevimon could also become Bakemon and Phantomon in Cyber Sleuth. I'd keep that, but also add Demon or Creepymon at the end here, which wasn't possible as far as I'm aware. Hell, I'd add the brand new Necromon from Digimon Liberator here too, but yeah, that's almost certainly too new of a Digimon, unless it was somehow conceived of years ago and only added now. Bakemon in Cyber Sleuth could also become Pumpkinmon. I'm considering this a separate branch because yeah, it feels long overdue, but if you wanted to swap out Bakemon, you could also add, I don't know, Patamon, that would be kind of cute, as the pre-evolution for Pumpkinmon. Either way, we are long overdue the Pumpkin King Noble Pumpkinmon back in video games after being left in Eirias jail for so long. I talked about this in my Digimon we need to see in the game. This is more of a prediction, of course. I forgot to mention Noble Pumpkinmon in that video, but of course I want him in this game. One of my favorite Digimon of all time, and I think it would be great if it was in one of the partner Digimon's evolution branches. I also think we keep Kurisarimon, Infamon, and Diaboromon from Cyber Sleuth. They're not going to pass up more our wargame potential with, like I say, Omnimon already a big player seemingly in the story. It's just a no-brainer. And that leaves us with including Plutomon. And I really don't think we're going to see a ton of surprises here if Plutomon is a potential mega for DemiDevimon. We'll go Dobamon to Cerberusmon, maybe also including the werewolf mode, and finally Plutomon. It's basically the de facto line for Plutomon now, in my opinion, and importantly, the one we got in Digimon Survive. I talked about this before, but Habu likes to kind of take little things from each project into the next. Sometimes it's mechanics, and sometimes it's more like hints for what's going to happen in future. It wouldn't surprise me if that Plutomon evolution we saw in Survive was a tee-up to us seeing it again in Time Stranger, even if Habu did eventually leave the project. And you could consider that the Dark Digivolution too if you want, but given that DemiDevimon naturally falls into the Nightmare Soldier's more dark and twisted evos anyway, why not just flip the script? It would be fun to have DemiDevimon redeem itself and get Angemon, Magna Angemon, and Seraphimon, given that when we Dark Digivolve Patamon, we gave it the Devimon line, or a Devimon line. Anyway, that is it. Some Digimon that I think are most likely to be in the branching evolution lines for the Digimon Story Time Stranger partners. Let me know your picks in the comments down below, and if you did like this video, obviously like it, leave a comment, I would appreciate it, and maybe we will do that live stream where we kind of try and fill out a full set of evolutions for all of them. Thank you to my Sovereign, ZDK14, as well as everyone else who supports me over on patreon.com/Karn EX, and my channel members here on YouTube. Appreciate you all so much. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you next time when we go digital. Bye bye.